What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and welcome to another episode of All Hail the King. This is going to be episode 25, and it features the two new characters from the past Spec Ops. But that's going to be the final team up. Most of the episode will focus on one in particular, and that's going to be Avalanche. Now, for anyone new to the series, it's based on a podcast segment on the From the Helicarrier podcast. You can find, listen, and download all of these podcasts at thehelicarrier.com. There will also be a corresponding link in the description below, so make sure you go and check it out. Now, our first team up is going to be Avalanche and Skirn, Breaker of Men. They both can apply opportunist debuffs, and they have exploit opportunity. Then to also help out on my agent, I have the Neuro Purge and the Ex-Oblivion. These items, especially the Ex-Oblivion, can really help you get those opportunist debuffs on your enemies in a hurry. Ultimately, this is going to help Skirn Stomp and Avalanche's big one to do a lot of damage in a hurry. In fact, right after using Epicenter, we can use his level 9 on his very first turn. This is an AoE attack with exploit opportunity, so we do some pretty decent damage to the entire enemy team. However, this of course would do more damage if we had some more seismic activity. But speaking of damage, Skirn is going to be up next, and she does incredible amounts of it. First, we'll just start out with the Hammering Blow, and we'll use that on the Scrapper Deadpool. Next, it's time to Stomp Beast. We want to get him out of the picture, that way we can hail all these debuffs off our team. So how about 117,000 damage non-crit? Then we get to use the Light Fantastic, which will heal our team, but unfortunately Avalanche does have Nano Plague. Still, after using Momentary Advantage, we're going to get 2 attacks with the Hand of Apocalypse. So here comes the first one on Deadpool. Wow, 541,000 damage. Did I mention I love Boon Buster? Oh, and we killed the agent too. Okay, so we may not top that one, but I did want to show this team one more time. And this time we're going against Pestilence Beast and Loki. Currently Loki is in hiding, but we know he's over there. He already disoriented us, so it's kind of dangerous, but we are going to attack with a Hammering Blow. Okay, and now that that's out of the way, we can go ahead and use Stomp on Beast. By the way, if you run into a bunch of Lokis, you may want to start using Satellite Support. I really think that hurts his viability. You know it's going to stop disoriented, and that's always his first move. So quite frankly, I'll be shocked if this trend keeps up. But anyways, with Avalanche, we're going to start out with his Epicenter, which is an incredible quick action. It not only gives us feedback, it causes Generalized and Exhausted on all the enemies. Then we also get the Sky is Falling procs off our AoE attack. Plus I'm using Surprising, aka the Skull Thumper E-ISO. And I have to say I do often get some stun procs off of Avalanche's abilities. So that's certainly an added bonus. Now I'm going to use the Neuro Purge, followed by a risky one-shot attempt by the Hand of Apocalypse on Loki. If this works, it would be amazing, but if it backfires, well, I may be in trouble. Alright, so here goes nothing. And he happens to dodge it. So that's kind of a waste of a turn, and he gets to use Trickster Seal. Well, I'm going to take out my frustration on this Pestilence Beast with a Stomp. Then with Avalanche, it's time to spam our big one once again. This time it will critically hit, and it's over 30,000 on both enemies. Then add in 2 more Sky is Falling procs. So all in all, that did some pretty nice damage. The enemy agent pulls out something you don't see very often. It's a Spirit Edge. But hey, we're okay with it. So now we're going to use Momentary Advantage, followed by the Light Fantastic. And yes, I'm going to use it even though we have the Trickster debuff. The reason why is so we can remove these debuffs, at least on Skirn and my agent. Next, I'm going to attack the enemy agent, and this should do enough damage to take him down. Unfortunately, because of Nano Plague, we didn't get rid of the debuffs on Avalanche. But if these 2 attacks both land, then the fight's going to be over anyways. First, we easily KO the enemy agent, and now Loki. Well, he does manage to dodge. So now we leave it to Skirn, Breaker of Men. First, we hit a Speed Burst, and then we're going to use Hammering Blow. That is going to win us the match, and that's going to be it for our first team up. Next up, we're going to have a Sonic Attack team, and it's going to be Avalanche and Black Bolt. This team is also running Loki, and as you can see, or I should say can't see, he is in permanent hiding once again. But hey, at least Disorient doesn't bother Avalanche because we do have that AoE. We also get our Sky is Falling procs, and we stun the enemy agent. See, I told you that surprising E-ISO is very nice on Avalanche. Next, we're going to use the Neuropurge, and instead of the Ex-Oblivion, we now have the Amplified Subsonic Sound Gun. This is a sonic AoE attack that causes Disoriented, and it also has seismic feedback as well. It just seems custom made to go along with Avalanche. Now watch what happens when the Black Knight attacks us. First off, he does very little damage. Even after his second Ebony Blade, I think he does something like 6k total. But we get both feedback and Avalanche feedback, and we end up doing more damage back to him. Then with Black Bolt, we're going to use our level 2 Royal Flight. This will give him Kree speed, so next turn he'll take 2 actions. Then look whose turn it is already. It's time for another big one. This one does 30k-ish to every single one of the enemies. I think under the right circumstances this could do some potential knockout damage, but you have to admit, for an AoE attack that you can spam every single turn, it's pretty impressive. Then after the enemy uses the Light Fantastic and the Blackest Void, we're going to do the same thing back to them. Plus we'll also get to hit with the Hand of Apocalypse. Since he is next to act and he has the highest HP, I'm going to go after the Black Knight. This attack is going to leave him just short of being KO'd, so he uses Atonement on his turn. At this point in the battle we do have Whisper off of cooldown, so it's going to be an AoE sonic attack. The cool thing about this is it also procs the Sky is Falling, so there's an additional 3000 damage to each enemy. Then after Loki's turn we're going to use Epicenter with Avalanche, followed by the big one. And I know I'm pretty obsessed with AoE attacks, but I absolutely love them. Also with this one, Avalanche scores a triple knockout. Then moving on to our final match and final team up of the video, it's going to be Avalanche and Cannonball. We're facing a Pestilence Beast and Mockingbird team. The first thing I'm going to do is use our level 9 on the enemy agent. We are going to place Meld Armor on him, but truthfully I'm hoping for an Explosive Empowered ISO 8 proc, also known as Collateral Damage. But we don't get it, and we get counterattacked for our trouble. I mean, we don't even get our second attack, so that just went completely terribly wrong. The good news is we can use Epicenter and Exhaust and Generalize all the enemies at once. Then believe it or not, I'm going to use something besides the big one. I'm going with a Fault Line on Beast. But one thing I do want to point out about this team up is the fact that both Avalanche and Cannonball both have an AoE exhaust. You can alternate between these two abilities and just keep exhausting the enemies. When this works out correctly, you can really shut down the opponents. For one, we're going to stop Tactician Beast from gaining extra turns from our blaster, and we're also going to stop Mockingbird. Now with Cannonball, we don't have to use Crash Landing just yet, but we are disoriented, and we also have ISO Contagion. So in this case, I did make the choice to use our AoE now. Next, of course, Mockingbird is going to go back after our Cannonball, but luckily she won't get a second attack. Then with some of those opportunist debuffs on the opponents, we're now going to use the big one. It does a decent amount of damage, and we once again get the Sky is Falling bonus. Now this could potentially be a very important turn coming up for our agent. I'm now going to use the Neurotrope, which by the way I've also used the Mark of the Brotherhood for this setup. Then I'm going to use Momentary Advantage and gain a second turn. After that, despite Pestilence being alive, I'm going to use the Light Fantastic. I'm mainly using this for Mirror Reality and because Cannonball's almost knocked out. This will provide our team with a safety net. And since I'm going to be single target attacking, I may hit my own teammate. Okay, well he dodged, but that could have been very scary without Mirror Reality. Then we do manage to take out the enemy agent, so we have this battle pretty well in hand. On Cannonball's turn, we'll once again use probably the most useless level 9 in the game. And then let's go ahead and give him a Kinetic Field. Now if you do happen to use the Mark of the Brotherhood, you can make that ability a quick action with Rally. Next, Avalanche is going to exhaust the enemies and use the big one. I have to say, Exhausted really cuts down on Mockingbird's usefulness. It actually could be the reason why we even won this match. And speaking of winning, this should be the enemy's final turn. With my agent, I'm going to use the improbability field, followed by the Hand of Apocalypse on Pestilence Beast. Then that will just leave Mockingbird for Cannonball. So trust me, we will get to see a nothing's impossible finish. This of course is Cannonball's big damage ability, but unfortunately he does have ISO Outbreak, so he only does 13,000. But still, I'm happy that we got that attack in there before the end. However, that is going to wrap up the episode, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and ask you to please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, good luck, and take care.